Hello, everybody. My name is Melissa. I am an illustrator and graphic designer primarily, but I have a background in fashion design and just an immense love for astrology. In today's video, I want to talk about the different rising sign representation in the Kibbe body type, Flamboyant Gamines. This was the Kibbe body type that was most requested in my comments as well as my TikTok. So here we go. So really quick, I want to talk about why do I like to talk about your astrological placements and Kibbe body type, and why do I like to combine those together. So the reason why that is, as trends come and go, they've been coming at a rapid rate. I think it is super important to define your personal style. So as trends come, you can determine if they fit into your personal style. I feel like it's important to find things about you that will stay true to you, and combining your dominant astrological placements and the essence that embody those placements that are already within you, combined with your Kibbe body type, you can create a unique style that is personalized to you. So I know I'm going to be using rising signs as an example, but when it comes to your personal style, you can base it off of other parts of your chart that are dominant in your placements. Because although your rising sign determines your looks, your outward expression, your first impression on one another, not everybody fully resonates with their rising sign. And also, there are other parts of your personality that can be showcased in your style. Style is very fluid, and in my opinion, I think you create a more interesting wardrobe when you combine other parts of your chart into your style. But when it comes to finding style muses amongst celebrities, I do try to classify them by their rising sign, because there are only certain aspects that we are showcased of these celebrities. So I feel like instead of using their sun sign or moon sign, I'm using their rising sign, because what they present to the public is most likely their rising sign representation. Now, the priority of this is Flamboyant Gamines and showcasing the different variety of style that you can have as a Flamboyant Gamine. Flamboyant Gamines are defined by their short vertical line, the bluntness in their bone structure, their squarish frame, and their overall petite presence. Of the Kibbe body type spectrum, they are a mix of yin and yang, yin being softer, rounder bone structure, and yang being more blunt, squarish, and sharper bone structure. Flamboyant Gamines are going to be a little more, they're a good mix of yin and yang, but slightly more yang. And they are oftentimes stereotyped to only dress as 1960s mod. And the reason why that is because a lot of the most iconic Flamboyant Gamines were the most prevalent of that time period. Think Audrey Hepburn and Twiggy, who are one of the most iconic Flamboyant Gamines, and a lot of the Flamboyant Gamine guidelines really follow these women. Starting out with Aries Rising, Penelope Cruz. She is an Aries Rising, as I mentioned, but everything that I mentioned can apply to you if you have prevalent or dominant Aries placements in your chart. Penelope Cruz is 5'6". I have heard conflicting information that in order to be defined as a Gamine, you have to be under 5'5". I don't think that's necessarily true. I think if you overall have a petite presence to you and you fit the other aspects of a Flamboyant Gamine, you can still be classified as a Flamboyant Gamine. So her petiteness is quite evident. She does have the sharpness in her bones. She wears a lot of garments that do actually show off her shoulders and collarbones, and I think it is quite flattering on her. I think what's really funny is that she is actually known for her tousled wavy hair, whether it's in a messy bun or kind of just it's very carefree, and this hairstyle is often categorized as the best hairstyle for romantic body types or romantic essence. And on her Gamine body type, it actually really suits her and it almost is emphasized. As an Aries, so one of the defining traits of Aries is that they are bold and they are naturally alluring. I feel like that is extremely evident in Penelope Cruz's energy, but she also showcases it in some of her signature pieces. She wears these 90s slip dresses with lace trim, and it looks absolutely natural on her. Also, the color red, even when she wears that as like overall garments, it doesn't look in your face. Like it looks like it's very a part of her. And whenever she wears these bodycon pieces, it adds to her allure and it doesn't look in your face. It's almost a part of her. And I think that is the overall feel of this Aries sensuality that just comes to Aries and Penelope Cruz, and it's very effortless. For Taurus Rising, we have Liza Minnelli. She is Judy Garland's daughter, but she also created her own fame in her own right. I actually know her the best in her movie Cabaret, which was from the 1970s. She is a flamboyant gamine at 5'4". I feel like Liza Minnelli's overall presence is very evidently gamine. Her mom, Judy Garland, is actually a soft gamine, so I think it's very cute that they both have the same stature in terms of that. And in terms of meanness and like her honoring her lines, she actually does it very well. Everything that is textbook to gamine lines and like what is recommended for them, she actually does follow them, but she does it with a lot of flair. So she is a Taurus. I think most of the time Tauruses are often recognized as this very wholesome but stubborn and very stable type of sign. I think oftentimes people forget that Tauruses are very self-indulgent, and out of all the signs, they are a stickler for quality of life things. And you can see that so evidently in Liza Minnelli's choice in clothing. She wears a lot of things that feel luxurious and have a lot of flair. Gamine body types are often categorized as looking best in 1960s silhouettes. That being said, I think they also look really good in 1920s silhouettes because it honors this straight body line, think flapper-esque fashion, and also the short hairstyle. Liza Minnelli, when she first started performing with her mom, she did have long hair, which didn't look bad on her, but when she started wearing her hair short, it became iconic and it had this wow factor that her long hair didn't quite have. And I think she knows this as well, considering she kept the short hair throughout majority of her life. So when it comes to gamines, because they have this very squarish silhouette, they pull off very femme and very masc silhouettes effortlessly, and Liza Minnelli does this as well. Next, we have Kelly Osbourne, who is a Gemini Rising. So when it comes to Geminis, they are very adaptable and changeable, and they often get this negative stereotype for being two-faced, and I don't think that's the case. Geminis are one of the most adaptable signs, and I don't think that's such a bad thing. Kelly Osbourne does a really good job at doing that. She is almost chameleon-like in her style. She always has this dark and alternative look to her. I mean, her dad is Ozzy Osbourne, so maybe that comes naturally coming from heavy metal royalty. But her most iconic looks is this purple hair, and she always looks really good in leather fabrications. But even though those things in her style stay stagnant, is very good at changing her style from gym ready, red carpet ready to street style while still remaining herself. And I think that's what it means to be a Gemini, being able to be versatile and have this quick-witted aptitude for change without changing who you are at your root. They're almost thespian-like. Keeps her hair at this beautiful lavender color. She also keeps it short, which is actually very honoring her gamine lines. Geminis tend to be really good in the limelight. They know how to protect their inner self and create a brand for their outer self, if that makes sense. Okay, another Gamine icon is Twiggy. She is a Cancer rising, and I feel like her Gamine style as well as who she is as a Cancer rising really work harmonious together. Cancers are known to be homebodies, very reminiscent of all things that are cozy. They are often defined by almost like this maternal feeling. And like that really shines through when she wears these very soft natured fabrications, her crocheted sweaters. And even though she is this high status, high fashion model, when she wears these pieces, it feels very natural on her. Also, as a Cancer and a Gamine with large doll like eyes, she has this very ethereal feeling to her. They say Cancer risings or Cancer energy is going to have this natural softness and roundness to them. They are represented by the moon. And I feel like even though she has the sharpness of the Gamine, you get that round feeling amongst her cheekbones and her eyes. And overall, she is the quintessential like idea of this 1960s Gamine with a Cancer undercurrent. If you are a Gamine, I feel like you will always feel at home in 1960s patterns, their square silhouettes and mini skirts. It will always look very natural on you. And Twiggy, there's a reason why Twiggy is always the representation when it comes to Gamines. For Leo risings, we have Tina Turner representing Flamboyant Gamines. I feel like you can spot Leo energy a mile away. There's always something fun and radiant about them. I think this is a beautiful representation that as a Gamine, you don't always have to be part of that like London mod scene that Twiggy is. There are different varieties that you can wear as a Flamboyant Gamine, and Tina Turner shows a very fabulous and shiny way of representing a Gamine style. She has a very dramatic presence about her. As a Leo, she wears a lot of luxurious, very fun and animated type of fabrics that move. And even though it's not evidently flapper-esque, the fringe that she wears actually works harmoniously with her career, obviously, as an entertainer, but they also honor her Gamine lines. Overall, Tina Turner is a good and fun representation of how to dress Gamine with a different type of flair and gold fabrics, this radiant energy. Next, we have Audrey Tatou. She is a French actress. I know her best in one of my favorite movies, which is Amelie. She is a Virgo Rising. I feel like when it comes to her Kibbe body type being a Flamboyant Gamine, it is actually quite evident. One of the most well-known classifications of being a Flamboyant Gamine is Coco Chanel, and I think it's quite perfect that she actually played Coco Chanel in one of her movies. She is actually the same body type as Coco Chanel, and she embodies that rich and tailored look that Chanel made popular. Her Virgo-ness, Audrey Tatou. Virgos are often defined by their meticulousness, their very well organized and balanced life. And I think when it comes to earth signs altogether, they are quite meticulous about things in general. Taurus are very meticulous and a stickler when it comes to quality of life things. And Virgos, their meticulousness mainly come from like the order of things and their methods in life. And that's why oftentimes Virgos are stereotyped to be very academic, very studious, and that translates into a fashion standpoint as light or dark academia. I have mentioned that several times on my TikTok. I get mixed reviews. I get some Virgos who absolutely love the dark academia aesthetic and say, this is so me. And then I have other Virgos who are like, oh, I'm so tired of this. I would like to offer a different perspective on this Virgo style that does cater to the organized mindset of one. And so if you think about Audrey Tatou's style, she is the epitome of French girl chic, and not just because she is French, but she does embody that. If you look at her, it's very effortless. There's a very clean cut look to her, and tailoredness that French girls often honor. They often wear like just a very minimalist but quiet luxury pieces, and they're almost aspirational on a different standpoint, and in a way that does actually cater to the overall Virgo-ness. Overall, Audrey Tatou actually does honor her Gamine lines for the most part, but I do love that she mixes it up. Sometimes she wears menswear inspired pieces, and she still caters to this French girl chic look. So that is another perspective on a Virgo style, if that helps, that still honors the traits of one. Next flamboyant gamine in Libra Rising is Zoe Kravitz. So Zoe Kravitz, being a flamboyant gamine, is quite apparent. She has a very sharp bone structure and her petiteness quite apparent. And what I like about Zoe Kravitz is that she showcases style on a flamboyant gamine in a different way, because she wears a lot of lines and silhouettes that actually go against what is recommended for a flamboyant gamine, and it actually creates this very cool girl chic look about her. A lot of people actually have defined Zoe Kravitz's style as this very effortless cool girl look. Whenever people use the word cool girl, they often refer to Zoe Kravitz's style. It's very comfy, it's very effortless, and it's almost free-spirited. Just defines Libras to a T. Libras are very good about balance, but they're also known to be the free spirits of the zodiac, or at least one of them. I think there's several free spirits of the zodiac, but Libras are very effortless. Like, I almost like woke up and walked out of bed pretty type of pretty. They're also almost like popular pretty, in my opinion, and I feel like Zoe really showcases that in her like oversized trench coats, her very flowy pants, and she does such a good job at juxtaposing these different exaggerated pieces. There are some cases where she really does honor her gamine lines, like when she wears these mini tennis skirts, but I love that she matches it with like a band tee or a Dickies tee, and overall she is a good example of how to dress carefree and cool girl chic as a flamboyant gamine. For Scorpio Risings, I have Lily Rose Depp. She is another celebrity, or nepo baby, however you want to call her, who is evidently a flamboyant gamine. She is actually known for her petiteness and small stature, which she actually probably gets from her mom, who also is a flamboyant gamine and is also a Scorpio rising. How funny is that? So a lot of people criticize Lily Rose Depp for being this Chanel girl because of her family name, which is not at all wrong. But at the same time, she actually does, she did get that advantage because of her family name, but also she does actually fit the Chanel girl aesthetic. As I mentioned, Coco Chanel is a flamboyant gamine, and with Lily Rose Depp being one as well, she actually fits the silhouettes of the brand perfectly to a T. Like Audrey Tatou, she does have a bit of that French girl chic, but there is something darker and almost femme fatale about her overall aesthetic. I think it also has to do with her makeup application, and also just like this look in her eyes that really caters to this idea of Scorpios being dark and mysterious. For Sagittarius risings, we have Alyssa Milano. She is best known for her 90s show Charmed. So it's really funny. I always consider Sagittarius energy to be 90s grunge, and I think it's funny that her most iconic time is when she literally plays a witch in the 90s. I think also a part of her is the blueprint for what we know as whimsigoth. Not completely, but The whole idea of whimsigoth is like this 90s witch. There's a bit of grunge, but there's also a bit of that free spiritedness and the eclectic nature of 90s fashion, and Alyssa Milano does showcase that. I think also when it comes to Sagittarius style, there is a bit of overlap between Scorpio and Sagittarius energy. Like there's that allure, there's that sultriness that they have, but Sagittarius energy is a lot more like I don't care attitude. It's there's no pattern to it, and it is another version of free spiritedness, but a bit of edge to it. I like how Alyssa Milano really showcases that as a Sagittarius rising. She is also a good representation of a flamboyant gamine who actually wears silhouettes that go against her lines, and she isn't always in this doll-like 1960s style that a lot of people classify as flamboyant gamines. And because of some of the silhouettes she wears, it actually elongates her stature, and some people often forget that she is a flamboyant. She kind of showcases this rock and roll carefree take on how you can dress as a flamboyant gamine with evident Sagittarius energy. For Capricorn risings, we have flamboyant gamine Ariana Grande. I think she is also another evident flamboyant gamine. So when it comes to Capricorns, there's this natural elegance. I have mentioned there is a boss-like CEO energy when it comes to Capricorns. I think when it comes to Ariana Grande, there is always actually a bit of elegance to what she wears. Even when she wears slightly more revealing pieces, it doesn't look raunchy in a way. It almost looks very eclectic and almost on brand for her. That is actually something I am quite jealous of when it comes to gamines. I feel like they can wear these pieces that may be deemed as too revealing on me, but on them it looks very chic and effortless. I don't know if this is Capricorn in general, but I've noticed Ariana Grande's style actually really caters to what is going on in her work life. So, whatever is on brand with her album, whatever she is working on career wise, she does wear a lot of pieces that cater to that. I know a lot of celebrities do that, but she does that in a very evident way. So, early on in her career, she did cater to this 1950s very youthful look with pastel details. And then as she started building her brand, and as her I wouldn't say like her music changed, but her music became a little less pop. She is still pop, but she added a little different elements to her music. She also started wearing that, like as she started wearing the knee-high boots and sweatshirts, it really matched the brand that she was going for in her albums. And now she is really pushing her brand, REM Beauty, as well as the perfumes that accompany that. And it has this very 1960s mod look, but more not in a twiggy London mod look, but she really goes for that 1960s Barbarella sci-fi look, which is another aesthetic I think flamboyant gamines can really pull off naturally, and she really showcases that evidently. So oversized blazers are something that goes against gamine lines, but I actually think it creates this very elegant look on her, and I think flamboyant gamines, even though they're recommended to not wear oversized blazers, it's actually a look that I think looks really good on them. I think Zoe Kravitz also showcases that, as well as Ariana Grande. Very popular representation that everyone always talks about. If they're not mentioning Twiggy, they are talking about Audrey Hepburn. Every time I look up a gamine representation, Audrey Hepburn is the one that always shows up. So what's funny is about Aquarius Risings, they are often defined as rebellious in a quiet way, eclectic but not in your face way, and they tend to be starter of trends but in a very subtle way. And Audrey Hepburn was that. She was very popular during a time when very curvaceous women such as Marilyn Monroe was like the it girl of Hollywood, and she kind of showcased a different type of beauty in a gamine way. And also, there was always something eccentric and whimsical about her style. and it was done in small ways, and it became iconic. She was so good at creating minimalist styles that had an impact and became iconic that we even reference to today. And I feel like that stays really true to an Aquarius nature, where there is something different and whimsical, but you can't really like put your finger on it. And I think if you are an Aquarius rising and a flamboyant gamine at that, Audrey Hepburn is a good example of all of those elements put together. I feel like if you are a flamboyant gamine, dressing as Audrey Hepburn as recommended is something you probably always hear, but for a good reason. She is a fashion icon for many reasons. It's very timeless, but let's not forget the eclectic details that she does include, such as the movies in Charade or some of the exaggerated pieces that she does wear. So remember how I said you don't always have to dress for your rising sign, but that's what I use for celebrities. So when it comes to Pisces rising, there are not a lot of Pisces risings to actually go off of. And the reason why that is because we don't have all celebrities' birth times, so it's not always sure everyone's rising sign. So, and when it comes to Pisces rising and a flamboyant gamine at that, it was actually really hard to find. So I had to kind of work around that. So instead, I chose these two who have very prominent Pisces energy in their chart, and they are flamboyant gamines. So first, I have Jhené Aiko. She very much showcases that Pisces energy. There is something very celestial about some of the pieces that she wears. She chooses a lot of dreamy colors paired with these ethereal fabrications. And as a flamboyant gamine, she does a good mix of wearing silhouettes that honor her lines, but she also wears these elongated pieces that she almost drowns in. And even though that goes against gamine lines, it still looks very dreamy on her. Another Pisces representation that is also a flamboyant gamine is FKA Twigs. So like I mentioned, she is not a Pisces rising, but she is a Pisces Venus. These women have very prominent Pisces energy in them. Jhené Aiko being a Pisces sun, Venus, but Jhené Aiko has a lot of Pisces in her, and then FKA Twigs has a Pisces Venus, but I think it's very evident in the way she dresses. And I love that she shows a different representation of how you can dress in a very impactful way as a flamboyant gamine. She wears a lot of artistic cathedral-inspired pieces. She juxtaposes a lot of these artistic silhouettes with very exaggerated fabrications, elongated pieces. If you are a flamboyant gamine with a lot of Pisces energy, or if you just have a lot of Pisces energy in general, I feel like these women are really good style muses to look to if you want to create that type of effect. Thank you so much if you watched this entire video. More to come. I definitely plan on showing all of the different Kibbe body types and how different astrological placements and style correlate with that. Till next time, I hope you have a good week. Bye.